Okay, good day everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join our webinar today, where we will be looking at investment migration programs in Europe. We will provide a much anticipated update on Portugal to start, and then as we've seen over the last few months, renewed interest in a number of other options in Europe. So we'll also have some oversight from our experts in the various countries on the other investment migration options that are available. My name is Dominic Volek. I am a member of the Executive Committee and the Group Head of Private Clients at Henley & Partners. And I thank you all again for joining us today. So as I mentioned, we'll go through the Portugal Golden Residence Permit Program, touch on the sort of current status, and then Emmy and Patricia, who are based in Portugal, will also go through where we currently stand with the program. It's been on a bit of a roller coaster the last couple of months. So there's an update there. We're still not at the end of the finish line, but they'll give you some more information on that. And then we'll cross over to our other panel members from Henley & Partners, who will touch on the golden visas in Spain and Greece. In Malta, we will give a brief overview of their permanent residence program, as well as touch on the citizenship option that is available there, and then also look at Italy and Latvia that have their own residence by investment programs. We do have a Q&A function available on the webinar, so please feel free to put any questions you might have on that forum, and we will look to answer those as we can by responding in writing. Otherwise, if we have time at the end, we will also answer them live on the webinar. So for those of you not familiar with Henley & Partners, we are the global leader in residence and citizenship by investment. We've been specializing in this investment migration industry now for almost 3 decades. We work on the private client side, where we assist high net worth individuals and their families with acquiring either residence or citizenship by investment in about 35, 40 different countries around the world. And the other part of our business is we strategically advise governments on how to actually create, design, and implement these investment migration programs, which has resulted in over $12 billion in foreign direct investment over the last 25 plus years. I know we have people joining us today from all over the world. So Henley has a large global footprint of over 40 offices, and a lot of our panel members today, primarily based in Europe, of course, but we are in a position to assist you or your clients with their investment migration needs pretty much everywhere in the world. So moving along, I will hand over to Emmy, who's based in our Lisbon office, to give you a quick update on Portugal. You're on mute, Emmy.
So thank you, Dominic. Good day to you, good evening, good afternoon. And it's still early in the morning in Lisbon. It's bon dia to all of you. Once again, thank you for joining us today. And I'm here to speak about the Portugal Golden Residence Permit, also known as the Golden Visa, most commonly known actually as the Golden Visa. And to tell you good news, okay, the good news we have for you. And as Dominic described it, it has been a roller coaster for almost a year now, up and down, back and forth with the government, with different measures that they wanted to implement. But what I can say to you today, for those of you that don't know about the Portugal program, which has been running for 11 years almost, you can still apply for the Portugal program and benefit from these key elements: the visa free, the eligibility for citizenship after 5 years of residence, while you keep your other residence. There's very low physical requirement, which is only 7 days a year, 14 days in 2 years. You can also add family, same civil partners, same gender partners, all of that is definitely possible. And then we've also got, very good schools, very good international schools, very good universities, and our clients' children already accessing those universities here in Portugal. And then, of course, for those of you that have never been to Portugal, Portugal is absolutely wonderful. We've got high quality of life, the local cuisine, the food is great, wines are great, climate, and the security, right? And it's one of the most affordable countries in Europe. Okay, so for those of you who haven't come to visit, please do, because you'll be pleasantly surprised. Okay, next slide. So what I want to say to you today, the good news is that the program will continue, these are today the options that are still eligible, and you've still got time to hurry up, of course, and submit your application. There's obviously investment options that are much easier than others, and as you all know, the government had the More Housing program. So they've done some changes to the program. Some will affect the real estate mainly, but there is changes that they have going to implement. And I will touch on that in the next slide. So this is what is current, and you could still do if we hurry. Okay, next slide. Okay, so as I touched on the More Housing program, which was a measures implemented by the government, which has majority in Parliament, and they implemented these measures to, control the housing crisis in Portugal. And the Golden Visa was just one of the measures that they've included in this diploma. There's several other measures. The Golden Visa was definitely one that they included. And the good news is it's not going to terminate, so you can do the Golden Visa going forward. We, of course, choose an investment option that will still be eligible. So that's it was very, very good news for us, all of us in Portugal, because we need investors more than ever, okay, in our country. The big change is the real estate. The real estate is the investment option that will be completely cut out of the program. For those of you that were more attentive to the program, already in 2022, January, they cut the residential in Lisbon, Porto, and the coastal line. And then they left the commercial, and they left the touristic, and as well the low density areas. And now they're going to cut it completely. So real estate is completely out. To be honest with you, it's a big major change because in the statistics that the government publishes on a monthly basis, 90% of our investors, doing the program, has chosen real estate. So of course, it will definitely impact the real estate market. There will be several other investment options that some of them will continue. The donation option, the investment fund option. The investment fund option has been an option that's been very popular over the last 2 years. So, that can still work. Again, as long as it doesn't have the real estate umbrella. Okay. Good news to tell you that there's absolutely no retroactive effects. You have the right to renew. You have the right for family reunification, even to apply for permanent residency, and even citizenship after 5 years, if, of course, you meet the criteria. So what I'm trying to say to you is if you've submitted your application, you are grandfathered in, you are safe. Next slide, please. So these are the new investment options. The creation of the jobs has always been there, and it's the least popular option. A little bit more bureaucratic than all the other options. So the 10 jobs are still there, and the if you want to a company that's already established in Portugal, and you create 5 more jobs. And then the other options that is interesting. For example, there's a lot of US clients who are very interested in the donation option, which they don't call it donation option, but that's what it is. It's the capital transfer in research, scientific technology, and the other one is in cultural heritage. So very, very interesting if that's the way you want to go. And then, of course, the investment funds. So the investment funds is also like I said, popular and has been popular for 2 years. So these are the new investment options. As you can see, real estate is out. Next slide. Okay, so this to say to you is these are the next steps. The next steps are we've invited Patricia Viana. Patricia Viana is a partner. She's also the head of the real estate and immigration at Abreu Advogados, which is a reputable law firm in Portugal. And this is where we need your help, Patricia, because we know that the president has vetoed this law. So we need to know what's going to happen. When realistically will real estate no longer qualify? What is your opinion, your legal opinion? I know that you're on top of the agenda in the parliament on a daily basis. So please give us your opinion on what can we expect? How long do we still have, for example, a client that wants to do real estate?
Okay, Amy, thank you, and good morning. Well, at least from my side to you all. Amy basically said it all. She explained very well what is this, the golden visa, what will happen, and the bad news, no more real estate, and the good news, the program didn't end. Differently from what many people, especially the left-wing parties of the Portuguese parliament and also the European Union, unfortunately, really were pushing to. You know, Amy, I see this a bit like death and taxes. You want to push it as far away as possible and to delay it as much as possible. And I think that this was actually what the president of the Republic tried to do. What happened was that this bill of law, as you said, that had quite a lot of other issues pertaining habitation in Portugal. This went to the parliament. The parliament voted it. It passed because the Socialist Party, which is the government, has the majority of the votes. And then this went to the president of the Republic. The president had three possibilities. He could approve it, he could send it to the Constitutional Court, or he could simply veto it, saying, I don't politically agree with this, it makes no sense, send it back, discuss it, change it, debate it again. I personally thought that by being a constitutional professor himself, he was going to send this to the Constitutional Court. But he did not do that. In fact, he said that from a technical standpoint, this law had no issues. So he politically vetoed it. He said, I don't agree with it. Send it back, redo it, reword it. But the government felt this as sort of a threat. And what they did was simply to say, I'm going to approve it again as it is, and I'm not going to change one single word. So what will happen now? This will go again to Parliament. It will obviously be approved because the Socialist Party has the majority, of course, and then it will go back again to the president. What can the president do? The president can no longer send it to Constitutional Court because he said he had the possibility of doing so and he chose not to do it. So he has only one choice. He needs to approve it. When will he do this? Well, he has 8 days to do it, but 8 days counting from the moment the parliament sends the bill of law to him. The bill of law needs to be again debated. It's not going to be a real debate, but debated in parliament. We are checking on a daily basis, as Amy said, the agenda, the schedule of the parliament, and it's not there up until now. Well, this morning I haven't checked it, but in principle, it's not there. The next session will be on the 15th of September. It is still possible for Parliament to put it there. And so the bill will be, it may be discussed on the 15th of September. If this is debated on the 15th of September, let's see it like this. They will vote it, it will be approved. 15, worst case scenario. Then maybe it will take 48 hours, so 2 more days to go to the president. He will get it. He will have 8 days to approve it. After approval, this will be sent again to Parliament so that the government will sign it. After signature by the government, this needs to be publicized. So this all takes a bit of time. I would say, from my experience and looking at the high importance that the government is putting and the pressure that is putting in this bill of law, that in a worst case scenario, this would be published by the end of September. But of course, this can take time. So I would say best case scenario, end of October. I don't see as a real possibility this moving until the end of the year, because really from a political standpoint, the Socialist Party really wants this law to pass and to become effective. There's some rumors that there are going to be further regulation on the bits and pieces of the law, and that this further regulation needs then to go to the president again, and he's warning, maybe I will veto it again. I'm not sure if this is right. I see it more as a rumor, because from what I've read to the law, and I really read it quite a lot of times, I don't see the need for much regulation, at least from the golden visa standpoint. So this is it. Annie, do you want me to tackle any special points, anything else on this? No,
thank you. There will be question and answers, and then we can go from there.
I think there are already some questions, so I'll try to answer them directly.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Dominic.
Thanks, Patricia. So obviously with everything that's been happening with Portugal over the last few months, and particularly the question marks around real estate, as Emmy mentioned, I think over 90% of all applicants of the Portuguese program over the last now more than a decade have preferred to invest into real estate. And so we've seen, already in some cases a shift towards the other sort of golden visas that have still very much have a real estate option. One of those is, of course, the golden visa program in Spain. And on that, Andres, if you can unmute yourself and tell us a bit more about the Spanish option.
Well, Dominic, thank you very much. Thanks very much for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hola, desde Barcelona. It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Andrés Gutiérrez, and I will be speaking now about the Spain Golden Visa Program. On the first slide, we're going to speak a little bit, for those who are not familiar with the country, about Spain. Spain has a population of around 50 million people, being the biggest country in the Spanish Peninsula. The capital is Madrid. Official language, as you may know, it is Spanish. Has great connectivity worldwide, basically from Madrid and Barcelona, the biggest, most important cities. To give you an idea, you are 8 hours from New York, 2 or 3 hours from the UK, 5 hours from Cairo, 1 or 2 hours from North Africa. Dubai, it is 7 hours, and Southeast Asia, it is between 12 and 14 hours, normally doing a stop in Middle East. In terms of numbers, as you may know, as you've seen, Spain, it is the 4th largest economy in Europe. It is, as you know, member of the European Union, Schengen area, etc., and has, in terms of healthcare, has one of the best healthcare in the world, both private and public, as well as its educational system. It is one of the best in the world, again, both private and public. In terms of real estate, as Dominic was mentioning, it is, as an option to invest in real estate, has been reputed the 2nd best country to invest in real estate by the Henley & Partners Real Estate Index, which measures the saleability, the ease of processing, and many other criteria. So basically, now, in terms of which are the key advantages, in the next slide, when we are looking at obtaining and applying for the residence by investment in Spain, there are quite a few. And I would like to mention first, for those people which are sitting right now in Latin America or have nationality from Latin America, Equatorial Guinea, the Philippines, and other countries as well, like Andorra, Portugal, and France, that those nationals, once obtaining residence, having passed 2 years of effective residence in Spain, they can apply for Spanish citizenship. This is something that it is not so common, it is not sometimes not very well known, and it is something which is very, very important for the planning of your citizenship and residence portfolios. Also, the Spanish Residence by Investment Program has a very easy processing. Everything can be done remotely from the place where you live. Investment is executed by our team here in Spain. Then an investor's visa is applied for at the consulate, and then we apply for residence in front of the Spanish government. Everything is done remotely at residency stage, and everything is done digitally with applications, as you may see, which are normally processed in 20 working days and many times in less than 20 working days. Once the residence permit is issued, for which the applicant needs to come to Spain to give the biometrics and collect the residence card, these residence cards are issued, the first one for 3 years and the subsequent ones for 5 years. And applicants can live and work anywhere in Spain, including the Balearic Islands and the Canary Islands. So no minimum stay, it is required in order to renew the visa. And it is a great option in terms of diversifying your portfolio of assets through a significant investment in the country in any of the following 3 options as we're seeing right now. The first one, as we all know, the most common one investment, it is the €500,000 investment in real estate. This investment must be made after 2013 in commercial or residential property. It includes land. This commercial or residential property can be rented out, and lately we are seeing many of our clients opting for commercial assets, basically because they have much less property tax, property transfer tax. The yields, they are very stable, between 3 or 5% normally, and it is a hassle-free investment, which allows to apply for the residence card. Of course, in terms of lifestyle, residential property, it is absolutely fantastic anywhere in Spain. In the case that the applicant would like to look into other type and diversifying their portfolio of financial assets, it is very interesting to look into the €1 million option, which the applicant can invest in listed shares in Spain, Spanish funds, or Spanish or financial term deposit in Spanish financial institutions, as you can see. The difference between number 2 and 1, it is the €1 million investment. It is much faster in terms of the processing of the investment and much effective in terms of taxes. And finally, something that not so many people do, it is the €2 million investment in government bonds, which must need to be maintained for at least 5 years. So all in all, our clients, they look normally at real estate, commercial property, then investment funds, which allows them to apply for a residence card, getting access to lifestyle, high standards of education and healthcare. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dominic, and happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Andres. If you can check the Q&A, I think there was one on Spain specifically.
Thank you.
Moving to another golden visa in Europe, and again, one that is very focused around real estate as one of the investment options. Diana, if you can unmute yourself and take us through the Greece program.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, kalispera to everyone. My name is Diana, and today I'm going to be speaking about the Greece Golden Visa Program. I am currently located in Greece, Athens, so all the applications will be held from here from now on. So a bit of a basic information about Greece. Who doesn't know, it is located in the southeast of Europe. It has one of the longest coastlines in the Mediterranean Sea. The capital is Athens. The population is over 10 million right now. The currency that we are using is euro, and the time zone is EAST. So the Greek Golden Visa program has officially launched in 2013, and since then it has been a very popular program within the European programs. It has one of the lowest minimum investment threshold compared to others still. It is also a win-win approach as it combines the Golden Visa with an investment that you can rent out your property, either if it's a commercial or a residential option, and you can also gain a very good ROI. In returns of obtaining a residence permit, you can also apply for a citizenship after 7 years. And also Greece has an excellent standard of living, good weather and pleasant food as well. So Greece Golden Visa program includes several benefits. And one of the biggest benefits is that obtaining the Golden Visa takes only around 3 to 4 months in total. You can still do all the process remotely by signing a power of attorney abroad in the Greek consulate, or now by a local notary, and then certify it. The Golden Visa gives you Europe's free movement in the Schengen area. It has an unlimited stay in Greece, and also you can also not stay in Greece at all, and there's no minimum requirement of being in Greece after obtaining the residence permit. So you have a free movement, and you don't have to come to Greece. Only after 5 years of renewal, you need to come to Greece to submit your biometrics. Another benefit is mainly the real estate investment, which is very attractive at the moment in Greece, as the tourism is increasing, and one of the GDP's contributions in Greece is tourism. So mostly the 90% of applicants here in Greece are choosing the real estate investment. Also, the residence permit gives you the access to public healthcare and education systems in Greece, both public and private schools. As I said, eligibility to apply for citizenship after 7 years, and you can also, a main applicant can include several other family members, including their spouse, parents, parents-in-law, and children up to 21 years old. So what are the top investment options in Greece currently? As I mentioned, it's the real estate investment. It still remains at 250,000. Rest of Greece, and as of 1st of August, there has been a change, and the threshold increased to 500,000, particularly in Athens, Thessaloniki, Mykonos, and Santorini, taking into account that Mykonos and Santorini are one of the most famous islands in Greece. They have increased it to 500,000 as well. In regards to the investment, it can be various properties, real estate lands, apartment houses, and it can be both commercial and residential, or also a combination of all of this to meet the minimum amount. By that, an investor can rent out their property or can just leave it for their own living. It's up to them. And also, I would like to mention that we do undertake the property management. So when an investor purchases real estate, we do also do the management for them. Another option is a term deposit, where a minimum of 400,000 euros is required to be credited into a financial institution. It needs to be kept there until you want to keep your residence permit, and when you take out this sum of money, then you automatically lose the residence permit. Just to assure you, this amount gets credited to the Greek financial institution, and all of them are very well capitalized, so there's not to worry at all. And also this amount can be broken down into 3 parts and can be credited into 3 different banks as well for your assurance. The other one is similar to real estate. I'm not going to talk in very detail about it, but it's a time sharing or lease agreement where you can where you can purchase and invest into hotels and hospitality and tourism properties. Next, please. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now moving into the Mediterranean itself, we will talk a little bit about Malta, which does actually have a real estate element to it, and Alexandra will take us through that, looking at both the permanent residence program as well as what we refer to as MESD, which is the citizenship by naturalization for exceptional services by direct investment.
Thank you, Dominic. Greetings from sunny Malta. Hello to everyone. So Malta is a beautiful island located in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. We are a member of European Union, and the population is plus minus 500,000 people only. The official languages are English and Maltese. Next slide, please. Apart from the obvious key benefits that have to do with the fact that Malta is an amazing place to live with excellent air links, there is an amazing Mediterranean climate here, and of course the permanent residence will give you free movement in Europe's Schengen area. It's important to note that all commercial and business relationships are conducted in English. There is the University of Malta that is open to children of permanent residents here. The opportunity to include a spouse, parents, and children of any age is also a great benefit, as long as basically the dependents are fully financially dependent on the main applicant. There is no minimum stay in Malta required. However, the applicants will need to come to Malta at least once to provide biometrics. The contribution is only to be made after the letter of approval is issued by the local authority. And the applicants who are successful in pursuing the permanent residence would be eligible to apply for citizenship after a minimum period of 5 years. And they would also need to be knowledgeable in spoken, written English and Maltese. When it comes to the next slide, please, Dominic, thank you very much. The procedures and time frame after successfully submitting the application to the agency in 4 to 6 months, the government is getting back to the applicant with either a letter of approval or rejection. Provided that it's an approval, only then the successful applicants are fulfilling the necessary requirements that have to do with property, contribution, and donation. And the applicant, together with dependents, is coming to Malta for biometrics appointments. It's a matter of 1-2 days maximum, and then the residence permit for 5 years is being issued. When it comes to the financial requirements, we're going to look at the single applicant. So we would need to prove the capital of at least 500,000 euros, out of which 150,000 should be financial assets or liquid assets, if you will. When it comes to property options, there are two, either purchase or lease, and you will see the amounts in front of you on the slide. There is a one-time contribution of 28,000 euros in case if you are purchasing the property, and 58,000 euros if you are leasing it. A one-time donation of 2,000 euros to a local NGO, and a non-refundable administration fee of 40,000 euros. Next slide, please. We are going to touch base a bit on the citizenship program that we offer in Malta as well. And yes, it has a very long, wonderful name, for exceptional services by direct investment. So in short, the citizenship program is offering its applicants to choose between 12 and 36 months residency option. We're going to take a look at the 12 months because it's the most popular one. Now, within the 12 months, the applicants should have an intention of coming to Malta and spending a minimum of few weeks here. Within this 12 months, the applicant will receive the residence permit, and we will also submit thorough due diligence and all kinds of documentary evidence that have to do with both non-financial and financial state of affairs of applicants and dependents as well. And after, let's say, realistically 18 months since the application has started, the successful applicants are receiving the passport of Malta and become the members of European Union. When it comes to the requirements, we're looking at a one-time contribution of at least 600,000 euros if you're going with a 36 months option, and 750,000 if you are going with 12 months. And again, it's only paid after the letter of approval for citizenship is issued. There is an option either to purchase or lease the property. The amounts are in the slide. A one-time donation to a local NGO of 10,000 and full medical health insurance valid worldwide would need to also be done for the whole residency period. Thank you very much. That's all from my side.
Thanks, Alexandra. Moving slightly north, Jacopo, who heads up our offering in Italy, if you can tell us a bit more about the Italy residence by investment.
Thank you, Dominic. Hello, everyone. Jacopo here. So let's see what I can share about Italy. If we go to the next slide. I think the things I would like to mention, I suppose a lot of you know Italy already. The things that really resonate with our clients is that usually they know the country already quite well. And for many in the recent years, they've seen new paths to migration which previously weren't available. In fact, compared to my other colleagues who just spoke, Italy is probably one of the most recent golden visas that were made available to non-European investors. I would also stress, even though others have mentioned it with respect to their own jurisdiction, the fact that Italy does have excellent healthcare, and this and there's also the proximity to Switzerland. So for clients that do actually want to relocate, they know that they potentially have access to Italian healthcare, and for whatever reason, due to the proximity, they can also have access to Switzerland, provided they have private health insurance, which in most cases they do. The last point you see here, since I saw it being asked a lot in the Q&A, and some were answered with respect to the other countries, you should really see this as a path to residence rather than a path to citizenship. The process to become an Italian citizen is quite long. It will take 10 years, and during these 10 years, applicants are expected to become fully taxpayers, okay? So if you have a person that simply uses the golden visa as it is meant to, so usually people do not relocate, they only want the option to do so, and Italy offers this. Nevertheless, if they use it as a golden visa and don't relocate and spend the majority of the time there, and hence become taxpayers, they will not become Italian citizens, even if they hold the permit for 10 years. Now, if we go to the next slide, you will see some similarities here with the investment thresholds. And that's because, as I mentioned, Italy is one of the most recent programs. And I think if you look at the legislation itself, they more or less looked at what other European countries were doing. They looked at Spain, Portugal, and Greece primarily. They saw that they were particularly successful in what they were doing. And they said, well, let's do it as well. And actually, the investment thresholds were very close to Spain. So if you remember what Andres told you, you have the 2 million investment in government bonds. This is exactly the same like Spain. Then you have 500,000 euros. This is where things start to differ. Italy, even though it was discussed initially over 4 years ago, they did not include the possibility to invest in Italian real estate. There's various reasons around this, but this is unlikely to change anytime soon, even though there was a moment in time in 2022 when the authorities were actively discussing whether to allow investment in Italian real estate. So one of the most frequently asked questions we get is, can I invest in real estate like Spain? The answer is no, regardless of whether it's residential or commercial. Nevertheless, if you invest in a company, 500,000, and this company owns a property, And this property is genuinely being used for business activities. Let's say it's a hotel or an agriturismo in Tuscany, which many of our clients, especially from the US, really like. This can be explored, provided it's a genuine operating company, and not that you're just pretending to have a property that is put to use from a business perspective. And one last thing that I'd like to say here on the Italian company, this 500,000 euro threshold investment. The investment can even be in listed companies. So some clients maybe do not know non-listed companies. They don't have a lot of exposure to the Italian economy, and they'd feel more comfortable to invest in liquid and bankable assets. So they are allowed to do that. So a bit like Spain, provided the company is Italian, even if it's listed on the stock exchange. So if they like Ferrari, for example, this is a notable example, which is often brought by clients themselves, this is okay. Then the last, I would say the last, because there's one investment route that's not really being looked at by clients. The last option, which is resonating a lot recently, is the investment in startups, which brings the investment threshold to 250K. So bringing it to the same level as in Greece. Now, it's worth mentioning here that for those that don't know the Italian economy, actually from an innovation perspective, Italy is quite advanced. They're at the forefront of robotics industry, also artificial intelligence, biotech. So there's very interesting startups, at least for those clients that can navigate this environment. Just to give you an example, end of September, there's going to be an event in Italy. It's the Italian Tech Week, and you will have pretty much most of the big US investors present there. You will also have Sam Altman, the founder of ChatGPT. So I would say the environment with respect to innovative startups is very, very dynamic. And this is resonating a lot among various clients. The last option that you see here is actually effectively a donation. So if you have a client that's really close to, really likes Italian art and wants to help a museum open up a new arm that focuses on, I don't know, Middle Eastern art or Latin American artists, this can be explored as well. Now, this pretty much wraps it up with respect to what is required from a financial perspective, what applicants are expected to do. But I would say the key point that clients usually appreciate here, and this is one of the only things that differentiates it from the other countries, is that the investment is not done upfront. Clients are first receiving their permit, and only later, after they've been approved, are they required to invest. Some clients do appreciate that. They say, okay, first, let's see if Italy wants me, if Italy will accept me, and then I will do the investment. So this is one of the key points that I'd like to stress here. Now, if you look at statistics though, Italy is probably the least popular program compared to the programs my colleagues have mentioned. So in 2022, there were about 100 applicants. So in other countries, you're looking at thousands per year, right? And there's various reasons, which we don't need to get into. But I would say one of the key reasons is because there is a free program, effectively, which is abused. But I think many clients are simply misadvised and hence look at option 2, which you see listed here at the end, and it's called the elective residence program. This is similar to what other countries have, also in Spain and Portugal. It's basically, you say, I don't plan to work in Italy, I can support myself. And if you can show that you can support yourself financially, I think in Spain, it's the residencia non lucrativa, Austria has it, you can basically get the permit as well. The main difference is that it's not a golden visa. So whereas the first option allows you to not stay, the elective residence implicitly assumes that you are in Italy, hence you should pay taxes. And you need to spend time there. Otherwise, you run the risk that the permit you are given could be revoked. Okay, so it's only suitable for those that do want to relocate. Nevertheless, Is the investor visa also used by those that want to relocate? The answer is yes, for one simple reason: the speed in processing. So my colleagues mentioned how other countries operate and what their turnaround times are. When things work in Italy, I would say the investor visa can take around 2 to 2.5 months if the stars are aligned, okay? So this can be one of the fastest programs out there. Nevertheless, there's many variables we cannot really get into right now. And if the variables do not match what we know the authorities want, the process can get delayed. I'll briefly mention them. If the client wants to relocate in a city that's not Milano, for example, this could delay the process because other police authorities might be a bit overwhelmed. If the applicant has a big family, then the family reunification process in Italy, it's done in two-step approach. First, the main applicant gets the permit, then the family obtains it, contrary to other programs. So this can delay the process up to 6 months. But generally, if someone values speed, it's a program worth looking at. Okay, I would say this is it for now from my side, Dominic.
Excellent, thanks, Jacopo. And then moving a bit more north and slightly east, Niels, I believe you're in Riga at the moment. If you can take us through probably a slightly lesser known residence by investment program in Europe, which is in Latvia.
Yeah, thank you, Dominic. I would say that we are moving pretty far away from Italy, 2,500 kilometers to the northeast part of European Union. And yes, today I will tell you shortly about Latvia residence program, which I found as one of the cheapest and also fastest route to access the European Union and Schengen area. So the Latvia is one of the 3 Baltic states located near the Baltic Sea. So we also have quite beautiful beaches, but you can use it only during 3 summer months because other part of the year is climate not so good. So the Latvia is a member state of European Union. We are part of Schengen zone, what means that residents of Latvia can stay and visit other European Union countries for up to 180 days per year. But there are also some other reasons why you can consider to choose Latvia residence program. First of all, we have really fast track application procedure and simple documentation requirements. And it takes us that all the process takes 2 to 3 months to obtain Latvia residency. We have also attractive tax system for corporate taxes, and we are in the top 20 worldwide in the ranking of doing business. And one of the, also, I think, in the top 5 of most ecology clean countries in Europe. Thanks to our location, we are a bridge between north and east part of European Union and the western part of European Union. And we are just 2-hour flight away from all the main European cities. And the biggest and one of the busiest airports in north and east part of the Europe is located in Riga. So you can travel worldwide directly from Riga. And now we will speak exactly about the residence permit program. And one of the most benefits is that we are not required any stay in Latvia. You just need to visit country once a year to collect your residency cards, but you don't need to spend here any more times. And there are 3 qualifying investment options which you can consider. The first one, which is on the slide at the top of the slide, is the most popular. It's based on an investment into the share capital of a company and obtaining a status of shareholder. Another option is 250,000 euros investment into the real estate. And the third option is 280,000 euros investment into the subordinated capital of Latvian banks. But when we are speaking about the second and third investment option, I would say that they are existing only theoretically and on the paper. because for these two investment options, the requirement is to open a bank account in Latvia. And currently, for citizens outside the European Union, this is quite close to mission impossible to open a bank account here. So if you are considering a real estate option, then our advice is that you are entering the country and obtain residency by investing into the share capital of a company. Then you can exit from this investment and then buy a real estate. Because after you obtain a residency by investing into the company, it will be quite easy to open this bank account. And in the future, there will be no problem for you to buy a property here. But you should start with this investment into the share capital of the company. Can we move to the next slide, Dominic? Yeah, thank you. And I will tell you about this timeline and road with the investment into the company and maybe mention some details. So the process starts with signing agreement with Henley & Partners and due diligence procedures. The next step is to select the company. And it takes, in our experience, for our clients, it takes around 1 week. But here I would like to mention the know-how of Henley & Partners, because originally, this investment option was designed and created by the government to target new investors who come to Latvia, establish their own companies, start to run business and obtain residency. But it's a quite long and tough way how to obtain a residency, especially because for such a companies, there is tax requirements that you need to pay at least 40,000 euros annually per taxes. And our know-how is that we identified local companies who are ready to accept investments from our clients. So you don't need to care about taxes, about doing or running business. You just buy shares of these companies and obtain residency. So yeah, and this process is that we introduce you to the owners of the companies. You can feel free to ask any questions to them and find the best option for your investment. Next stage is collecting of all the required documentation. For our client, it takes between 1 and 2 months. After this follows the submission of the application, and you can come to visit Latvia and submit the case in the Office of Citizenship and Migration Agency. And another option, you can submit the case in the nearest Latvian embassy in your country. And we arrange a visit to the embassy, and it includes our services. And after the case is submitted, it takes around 30 days for our Office of Citizenship and Migration Affairs to approve your case. And after this, you have been granted 3 months to visit Latvia, to give your biometrics, buy health insurance, and collect residency cards. That's how the process looks like. One more thing I would like to add is that Latvia don't have any blacklisted countries, so we are accepting citizens of any countries. And also, one more time, I'd like to underline the simplicity of documentation which is required by the law. So that's pretty shortly about the Latvia option, and thank you to everybody.
Excellent, thank you, Niels. If the panel members can, just again, before we close, review any final questions which they can quickly answer. I guess one of the takeaways from this session is really, if you're interested in any of this, we've gone through a lot of numbers and facts and that, but of course, at the end of the day, we're a specialist advisory firm, and we have this large global footprint. So if you or potentially your clients are interested to find out more detailed information about any of this, I noted a few questions asking about the age of dependents, the physical presence requirements, the path or process to citizenship of these countries. Please just do get in touch with us. You can find our contact details on the website. And for all those that have registered and attended, we will also share a copy of the PowerPoint deck, as well as other information, and the session will be recorded and shared if you would like to watch it again. So thank you a lot to everyone in attendance, especially my panel members. There is a second session a bit later today, which if you would like to, you can attend as well. But otherwise, I wish you all a lovely end to the week. And if we can be of any assistance, please do get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a productive day, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.